2021 was a year of chaos in the governor's office. It will impact 184,000 businesses in the city. Prices keep climbing, and Americans are wondering when or if they'll see some relief. Many Americans have questions about mixing and matching vaccines. There is an important race to decide who will be the next mayor. Coming up after the break, more money is on its way in your Social Security checks. Democrats are facing a wake-up call regarding voter concerns about the economy and COVID. Congress pressed pause on negotiations over the Build Back Better Act, the loss in hospital beds, and vaccination rates in New York State. President Joe Biden outlines new steps to fight the COVID-19 pandemic as the U.S. heads into winter. Cheers on the House floor this morning as the president's social spending package gets passed. Earlier tonight, election results coming in from New Jersey, making it a historic win for Governor Phil Murphy, who becomes the first Democratic governor re-elected for a second term in 44 years. New York State Senate and Assembly members are trying to amend bail reform laws, saying changes would help those with substance abuse disorders get treatment. Senate Republican leader Rob Ortt joined Senator Fred Akshar, Assemblyman Joe Angelino, and Binghamton Mayor Rich David to call for changes to the bail reform laws that went into effect in 2020. A bill sponsored by Akshar would make it possible for a judge to remand an individual facing drug charges to the custody of a sheriff and order them into court-mandated treatment. A vote on the president's infrastructure deal could come this week. Support is there, but the timing keeps being pushed back as Democrats negotiate other parts of the president's agenda. For months, we've been talking about the infrastructure deal and how it could have a serious impact on many towns and cities. Members of the Biden-Harris administration say they're eager to get the infrastructure bill in place. This morning, Governor Kathy Hochul presented New York's 2023 budget to the Senate, highlighting a $216 billion spending plan for the state.
We're not creating recurring expenses or new programs we can't pay for.
Instead, Hochul says her fiscal plan for 2023 will use existing funds, with all proposed spending either a one-time investment
or are supported by the expectation of a reasonable growth in revenue as projected by our Division of Budget.
In just 20 minutes, Hochul broke down the numbers, including a $32.5 billion investment in roads and bridges and $31 billion for education.
And that brings us to the highest level the state has invested in education ever.
Healthcare also getting a record investment, $10 billion to try and build back the workforce and retain current employees. Of course, at the center of the speech, COVID recovery. Hochul is proposing $2 billion for pandemic relief programs.
And I'll work with the legislature to identify the most impactful use of these funds in the short term.
And wants to fast-track a more than $1 billion tax cut for middle-class families.
At a time when inflation is robbing families of long-awaited gains in income.
As for helping small businesses after an especially tough 2 years, the Buffalo native is proposing $100 million in relief money and $250 million in tax credits for COVID-related expenses. Hochul says the 2023 budget is a responsible plan, investing where it's needed while padding the state's reserves for a rainy day. And in response to the governor's budget, many local leaders sharing their thoughts. Assemblywoman Donna Lupardo saying, quote, "I appreciate the governor's fiscally responsible approach to this year's budget. She is taking advantage of historic federal resources by making sound investments in healthcare, education, infrastructure, and tax relief for hardworking New Yorkers. Governor Hochul is using the moment to address many underfunded areas while preparing for a strong economic future," end quote.